Hello and welcome to this episode of SUVAI Snippets. This is a program filled with insights and observations about all things creative. In this episode, I'm going to talk about the attitudes and strategies that you need for successful remote collaboration for creative projects. Now, we are all under lockdown during COVID season, and creative people are working together based from their homes. They're remotely collaborating, and they face challenges as they try to create audio or video productions. Now, SUVAI Sons has always done remote collaboration even before COVID, and I learned a few things on the way, and I thought, let me share those tips with you. It might be of help, especially during COVID season. Now, in a creative project, there are two kinds of people, the creative heads and the talents. The creative head is the person with the complete vision for the project. They know what the final project is going to look like. So this might be somebody like the director or the producer or the writer. And the talent are the individual performers. They might be singers and instrumentalists in a musical production, or they might be people like actors, cameramen, different kinds of tech people. These two kinds of people have to work together to create the final product. Under normal circumstances, what happens is the talent goes to the studio, does their little performance. The creative head is there for immediate feedback. They're watching them, and they might say something like, "Wow, that was awesome. Let's try take two with a little variation." Now, if you have to do this by remote collaboration though, it gets drawn out into multiple days because the creative head sends the instructions, the talent gets the instructions, does their performance, sends a file back, and waits for feedback. The creative head watches the file, takes time to send feedback. You see how this gets drawn out. So in a remote collaboration, if we want things to happen quickly, we must try to avoid bad takes and excessive redos, otherwise things get stretched out. So let me give you some strategies. For the talent, the most important thing to remember is if you're getting feedback about the file that you just sent and they want a redo, don't take it negatively and feel bad. Don't feel rejected, Just think of it like a face-to-face studio session. It's not, but pretend that it is so that you can feel better about it. So this might be just because you missed an instruction, or they missed telling you something, or there was a misunderstanding, or maybe they're just trying a variation. So don't take it personally and negatively. Just try it as take two. Here's a couple of strategies for talents to minimize the amount of redos. Number one, pool all the instructions together in one place and rehearse multiple times while making sure that you check off all the requirements and rules in the instructions. If your creative head is sending you instructions from multiple places like phone calls, emails, text messages, pull them all in one place. Then you rehearse. Then you send the final file for feedback. Number two is to be open to understanding tech. In normal circumstances, you go to the studio, the tech setup is there for you and you don't have to think about it. But now when you work from home, you have to think about it. So you better get some clarification. For instance, if the creative head says, "I want a plain background, well-lit wall," that should be your background. What do they mean? Do they mean they don't want glossy paint on the wall because it's making a blob of light behind you? You see what I'm saying? So you need this clarity. Try to get that clarity from them. As for the creative heads, here's a couple of strategies. Again, number one is to put all your instructions in one spot. Maybe a YouTube video, or make a written document and leave it on a Google Drive. Whatever it is, make sure it's one spot and keep referring the talent back to that one spot. If you send one instruction by phone, one by text, one by email, they're gonna miss something. So get organized in the beginning. It is worth the time that you spend to make those instructions in the beginning, because otherwise you're gonna have to do redos. So you might as well spend the time initially. And number two is to make mock-up videos and mock-up audios. If you're looking for something specific, like a hand movement or a head tilt or a certain kind of framing in a horizontal video, whatever it is, make sure it is in the mock-up video, and also spend some time teaching how to set it up, how to set up the video. You want it horizontally, not vertically. You want the light not to have a glare behind them, things like that. Set it up, explain the mock-up video, and actually do the mock-up. And leave it in a single place where the talent can see. I hope these tips help you and gave you new ideas to get organized. And I hope these save the number of redos and takes that you have to do. See you on another episode of SUVAI Snippets.